up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Manji TV. On today's episode, we have this super rad KMP steering wheel for the M2C race car. Let's go ahead and unbox it, see what's in here. As you can see, only for racing. I think they give you the build sheet here and just basically a packing slip. Oh, the wind is gnarly today. It blew away. We've actually already looked at the wheel, guys, so I already know what to expect, but this thing is sweet. Hopefully you guys like it. I can't wait to feel it on the car. Oh, blowing the young wheel. How amazing is that, guys? KMP makes, in my opinion, the nicest wheel setup in the industry. These buttons are super tactile. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but they're military spec. It's completely customizable. There's over 50 options. You can see here we've chosen to have the left and right blinkers. This flasher button will flash the headlights 6 times, so when you're pulling up on somebody on track, you don't have to flash your headlights. We've got our M modes to switch between M1 and M2. Because the car is still a street car, I chose to go with cruise control, so set and speed up, speed down. And then we have pit lane speed, which is 40 kilometers an hour, and we have code 60 for the Nürburgring, which is when you know, there's a downed car on track and we got to get off the track. You go 60 kilometers an hour, so that'll limit the car to 40 or 60 based on which one I hit. We have horn, because now we obviously don't have a horn. And that's pretty much it. Comes with a super nice set of magnetic pedals. These magnetic paddles feel freaking amazing. I cannot wait to get this on the car and feel how it is. And we did incorporate the shift light, which should be a really nice addition to the car when you're driving. Just help you make sure you're shifting at the right points. Everything about this wheel is of the highest construction, made out of you know, either billet or carbon fiber and Alcantara or suede. They even do have a leather option, but we've chosen to go with the suede option here. The wheel is basically a direct plug-and-play setup. I believe this may have to tap into the high-low CANbus for the shift light, but I'm not sure. We'll find out here shortly when we go to install it. The hub itself is, I don't know if I can do this one-handed. It's very, very strong. I'm going to put this down just for 1 second so I can get this off. Wrong way, guys. The hub is super nice. We've opted to go with the Quick Connect electrical connector. So this is the most expensive hub that they make. It's got a nice connector in there, you can see, and even the finishing plate here is made out of carbon fiber. The design is like a triangle design, and it fits super tight. There's no slop like some other spline style hubs on the market. Anyhow, this thing is beautiful. I'm super excited to get it on the car. There is also something special inside of here. We're going to show you that real quickly. They did just so happen to make me a custom center cap for the wheel. Obviously it's branded in Manji, which is amazing. Honestly, I really love the KMP one because it's actually like machined into it, where this is just laser etched. Both are sweet. I'm actually having a hard time deciding which one I'm going to go with, so stay tuned to see what we do there. But yeah, enough said. Stop talking about the wheel. Let's just get this thing on the car, because it is going to improve our driving experience huge, and I cannot wait to just go even take this thing to lunch today once we get this thing done. So let's go ahead and get this bad boy on the car. And as you see, it's only for racing, because they are the real deal. They don't make stuff for the street. Even says not for the street. But obviously here in America we got no rules against that. You do want to make sure that you have some like harnesses in the car as you're getting rid of your airbag, and that is definitely something to think about. Obviously our car is going to be just a track car, so yeah, love it. Let's get to it. Woo! So I've already previously removed the airbag. I actually had somebody buy it from me, that's why it's not here. But we're going to go ahead and remove the steering wheel. It's super easy. There's just 2 connectors. We'll go ahead and zap this center bolt and then pull these 2 connectors. You do want to be sure that your steering wheel is perfectly straight, so I've gone ahead and aligned the steering wheel perfectly straight up. We do have some instructions here from KMP, which we're going to be following. I can try and link these down in the bio, but they're going to be different based on the chassis you have and also which options you go for. Like you can have start-stop button on the steering wheel. We chose not to do that. We are going to be running a shift light, so it does require us to tap into the CANbus behind the instrument cluster here. So we're going to be taking the instrument cluster out to do that. We will also be having to run some wires and whatnot and play with some of these connectors into the clock spring. But nonetheless, we're going to walk you through what we have to do. If you guys are putting some of your DCT buttons up on the steering wheel, then you might have something different, as well as with the starter button. All that stuff is mentioned here, but the main thing we're going to be focusing on is this one right here, getting this CANbus system to work and function the shift light properly. So nonetheless, first thing first is going to be to remove your airbag, and then remove the clips, remove the steering wheel, and then you want to make sure that your clock spring is in the centering position. There's like a little yellow tab. I believe some have it, some don't. So we're going to make sure that the clock spring is perfectly centered, which at that point I believe we'll have to slightly remove to get the two left connectors. There's basically two connectors here on the left. We do have to slightly like kick the clock spring up to get to that secondary connector, where we're going to unpin, I believe, pin 11 and repin it into the supplied harness, and then plug in the additional wire that's on that supplied harness into that pin and some other stuff. So let's go ahead and get to it. Alright guys, something to note here. In the directions, they actually say that with this little inspection window, there should be like a little yellow tab. On mine, there's like a band of wire inside of there that's basically in the center of the glass, but the other way that you know it's centered is there's two arrows that are lined up. So when you take the wheel off and straight, it should just be lined up. What's weird is they're telling me there's 3 connectors. I'm not seeing a third one. I mean, there's this small one, but I don't believe that they're referring to. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this clock spring up, pull it off, and see if I can't see another connector. There is 2 down here on the right. But anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and just keep digging in and try and figure out which connector exactly they're talking about. So let's go ahead and get these 4 bolts off the clock spring. All right guys, I've gone ahead, taken the 4 screws out of this clock spring, pulled it down, and as I said, it's kind of funky because we have 2 connectors, not 3. So that is something we're gonna have to sort out here. The directions are sort of wrong on that part. I know that they do mention that you can completely get rid of this, but I'm not 100% sure that we are just yet. I actually still want it just because of wipers and the BC button and automatic headlights and stuff, but you can technically get rid of this. Yeah, that's really weird. Can you grab me the wiring that's inside those little wiring pieces?
Only the wiring?
Yeah. And maybe, I guess maybe just, yeah, bring everything out here, but yeah, might as well. Maybe put it in the box so it like has somewhere to sit clean. All right guys, so as I mentioned, they say there's 3 connectors, but we only have 2. And then this connector here is identical to the supplied harness. So basically what we have to do is pull this brown wire. On mine, it's brown at least. It may be different color on yours, but it's most likely brown if you have an M2 Comp. And we're gonna take this pin 11 and put it into pin 5, which is just next to this blue wire here on the supplied connector. So let's go ahead and do that. I believe that's it for this connector down here, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and put our bridge on now that I've locked in our pin here. So we've got our bridge on now. This I'm gonna have to figure out here the best way to route this through to our steering column. Go ahead and pull this column out now, or the cluster out now. Alright guys, set this to the side, be careful with it, you don't want to damage it. So they're actually talking about this connector here on the chassis. The red-blue wire is in pin 6, and the solid red wire is in pin 12, which is what they say here. Okay. So remove pin 6 and pin 12, and place back in the supplied 2P connector. All right guys, we decided to pull the outside connector off, there's a little tab in here that you'll have to release on the bottom side to pull the inner structure out. So we'll go ahead and set that down to the side. And we are going to just pin or unpin the CANbus wires real quick, because I'm going to untwist them just slightly, which will help me get this connector on. I think that's why they're saying to do it. So let's go ahead and just do just that, and then we'll plug these back in. Alright guys, I've gone ahead, gotten something a little smaller to fit down in here, and hopefully get this thing released. Takes a little finesse, guys, as the pin wants to get really bound up. So we're going to go ahead and do the same on the bottom side here. So now we have our high-low CANbus unpinned from our connector. We're going to just untwist this slightly to give us a little more room to get our new supplied connector on. And how do we want to go about it? Do we want to go under or over? Let's see here. And so the red wire will actually go to your blue wire, and the blue wire will go to the red wire, which red should be on the inner. There's an arrow on this one, guys. As you just seen, we just put it back into the main connector. Our pins are good. Everything should be as required. We're going to go ahead and reinstall our gauge cluster. Maybe before we tighten everything up, we will verify everything functions as it should, and route this wiring in such a way that it isn't an issue. Just get this plugged back in here to the gauge cluster. Nice, we got a nice good pop from that one. It's affirmative. All right, gauge cluster back in as it should be. Now what we can do here is put our clock spring back on. With the clock spring, actually it may be easier with it off, just to put the connectors on first, to be honest. So we'll go ahead and get this one connector in with the tab here. You'll want to rock this guy over. There it is. All right, so that guy locked in. Hopefully you guys saw that. We got that nice and locked in. Now we're going to go ahead and lock in this connector they supplied, shut the tabs, and just make sure all of that is good. All right guys, there's that. This is just kind of hang out, and here we can kind of tuck it up between these two wires, maybe just kind of hang out behind the clock spring. I don't know if that's possible or if that's going to get in the way there. So if you can't get this on, make sure our clock spring is centered here, which it is. We're going to have to grab our hub and get this thing bolted on. To install the thing, we actually probably want to put the steering wheel on it so that we have it perfectly straight. Do you want to give me the steering wheel real quick? Let's put these bolts back in our clock spring. Thank you. We'll go ahead and throw that steering wheel on in 2 seconds. Go ahead and click our wheel on just to kind of get an idea. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to take the wheel off here. Now we need to take this reveal plate off for the connector and actually put our bolt in and torque it to 65 Newton meters, and then all is good, and we'll test fire this thing and see if all the functions work. Let's get her done. I need that T30. Did you ever get me that?
Yeah, sure.
So T25, guys. I think maybe the 27 will work. Let's see. Nope. The 20? Nope, nope. It's a 25. We're gonna go ahead and break these free. Be careful not to remove your hub, as it is important that we keep it centered. Now that we know where center is, so we'll go ahead and zap all these off. All right, guys, here we can see into the mil-spec connector that goes into the hub. We'll go ahead and put this bad boy in and torque it to 65 Newton meters. Oh yeah, and there's actually, just so you guys know, there is some marks inside of here. And there is a little mark on the steering shaft, which also helps you align it, and we nailed it, so that's awesome. Something I didn't know, but now we know. There is actually a mark inside of here so that you can be sure that you get it straight up and down, perpendicular, or vertical, and it in line with the actual hub here. So anyhow, we'll go ahead and torque this. Do you mind grabbing me a 3/8 torque wrench and maybe grab me the Loctite? I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite on this thing. Probably just the red. We'll just put a dab of it. All right, guys, we just impacted the bolt in here. Now we need to torque it to 65 Newton meters. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure here the instructions do tell you. And as I mentioned, there are some other options that if you guys are doing, you know, if you have a base M2 and you're putting your DCT M Sport buttons on here, then you'll have some different stuff to handle. Same with the start stop. But where is the torque? Here it is. 62 Newton meters. So we're going to go ahead and torque this to 62 Newton meters. Let's see if we can get this without turning the car. Yeah, this is going to be a hard one. It's the hardest part here is how are we going to hold this hub? Need to figure that out. Not 100% sure, because you can't really, with this one with the fixed hub, you can with the wheel on, but with this one you can't. We're gonna have to probably rig something up on the wheel so that he can hold the steering in place while I torque this bad boy. All right, guys, what I've decided to do here is start the car. I'm gonna turn it all the way to the right so that the wheel can't turn anymore. And we'll go ahead and torque this thing. You guys just heard, we torqued it. It's all good. We'll put the wheels back to straight. Is that straight wheels?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, the wheels are straight now. Now we're gonna go ahead and finish this install. All right, guys, that is basically it. We're gonna throw a couple zip ties up here underneath the column. Give you guys a better look. Here's our loop connector. You can see this blue wire going to our new connector with our CANbus line. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of zip tie this up so it's nice and out of the way if we're adjusting the steering wheel and whatnot. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, guys, I believe this little connector down here was creating a little clearance issue, so we've gone ahead and looped it above, and I'm going to go ahead and zip tie that now in a different position so it's just kind of more out of the way. So something to note, not 100% sure that was our issue, but I think that was our issue here, trying to get these covers on. Okay, that popped into place much nicer, which feels better. It's easier to get in. I think we got it, guys. Okay, bam, bam. All right, guys, that's it. Kind of trick is to lock the back clips in first, then do the fronts, and then everything is good. Sweet. All right, it's time. Let's cut this guy off of here. You guys ready for this? There it is, guys, and let's kind of move it back into position. It'll be more like that. How sick, guys. I am super stoked on this. I'm gonna go a couple little features to work out. The I don't know, maybe I have to delete the actual BC button over here. I'm not totally sure. The blinkers don't seem to be working. The M button is functioning. The flasher button is not functioning. We'll find out about the set speed and whatnot and these pit speeds. Horn works at least, so that's good. Let's see, get it in drive. We'll see if the manual paddles are working. I mean, either way, a little couple bugs to work out, but I do already immediately love the wheel. And the size of the wheel, dude, it makes it feel sick. It actually makes it a slightly bit stiffer to turn the wheel, just first kind of thought, which is nice. Yeah, the paddles aren't working. Not sure what's up with that. That sucks. But damn, it feels super sick. All right, guys, had a little confusion earlier when I mentioned how to do this. So pin 11 is actually not on this identical connector, it's on the hinged connector. So we've gone ahead and removed the pin 11 from the hinge connector. On my particular car, it's actually a blue wire with a black stripe. So we've gone ahead and removed that. We've pinned that into pin number 5 on the supplied connector with the twisted harness, and then we've gone ahead and ran our blue wire that was existing into that pin 11. So now everything should function accordingly. We're going to plug this back in and test it, so we'll let you know the results here shortly. All right, guys, so in the last clip you saw us messing with the wiring. We did accidentally mess it up the very first go around, so we got that fixed, got everything dialed in with the KMP steering wheel. Huge shout out to KMP for supporting us this season. Man, would you just look at that thing? It's beautiful. And I'm super happy with the feel and fit and finish of the product. Definitely will be putting these on every car moving forward. I just love it. I can't wait to get the car finished. As you can see, the car is behind me. The roof's been cut off of it. It's fully stripped. We got the carbon door panels in, the carbon center console in, and the KMP wheel. One of the last things to do is gonna be an AIM race dash. And once the cage is installed and fully tigged, we're gonna get it painted. We're gonna get the carbon roof on. Can't wait to show you guys the final product. Make sure to stay tuned. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, and we'll see you in the next one.